Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/slash Tales from Tech Support. In today's episode, that's not what I meant to happen. My first ticket of the day, computer has data on the screen. Please fix. I should have followed my instincts. End user connects a desktop to a docking station. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. That's not what I meant to happen. Backstory: I work half as a customer account manager, half as tech support for a telematics company. Said telematics devices are sold with a very UF HTML5 platform used by customers to manage these devices. Customer, $CUST. Me, $LJ. It's almost 5 p.m., work has been a day of ID 10T and PEBCAC errors, and I'm counting down the seconds until I'm in bed watching Netflix. Tech line starts to ring and my coworker, and I spend 10 seconds death staring each other until I cave and answer. $LJ, Company Technical Support, $LJ speaking. $CUST, hi, is this tech support for $Company? $LJ, yes, sir it is. What can I help you with? $CUST, well, you see dear, I'm having some issues with very important platform. I can't seem to change setting. $LJ, I can help you with that. But first, can you tell me your name and company you work for? $CUST, it's $CUST, and I work for $Cust Company. $LJ, alright, let me just bring up your account and check your privileges. Now while I'm checking his account, I can hear him mumbling about how he's terrible with computers and he just wishes things could go back to the way they were. $LJ, alright $CUST, I've checked your privileges and can see that you should have access to change setting. Can you explain to me what you're doing and the error you see? $CUST, I'm sorry, it must be me. I'm so useless with these things. I'm sorry to waste your time. $LJ, you're not wasting my time, it's what we're here for, to help. $CUST, no I'm sorry. I'll ask someone else to change it. $LJ, sir it's OK-. He hung up. I was just finishing logging the call in our CRM when the phone rings again not 5 minutes later. $LJ, Company Technical Support, LJ speaking. $CUST, quiet sobbing. $CUST, I'm so sorry $LJ, I still can't change setting and I'm so sorry. $LJ, CUST, it's okay. I don't mind helping. $CUST, my wife died 2 days ago, but we're too busy at work for me to take time off. I don't have anyone and I can't. $CUST, crying. $LJ, oh God. $LJ, oh, I'm so sorry $CUST. That must be awful for you, I can't imagine. I won't go into details for obvious reasons, but I will say that I ended up on the phone with this man for quite a while, well past close, discussing the memories he had of his wife. $CUST, thank you $LJ, no one has wanted to talk about this. They all just say they're sorry and change the subject. Thank you for listening and for letting me talk. Don't worry about setting, I'm going to go home and rest. $LJ, it's okay $CUST, I hope you're okay. Have a good night. I hung up the phone, teary-eyed, and just sat at my desk for 5 minutes in silence. I logged the call, locked up and left. 2 weeks later, a courier knocked on our office door, holding a bunch of flowers and a box of chocolates. After signing for them, I opened the envelope attached and inside was a letter that read, Dear $LJ, thank you. It's true that sometimes you don't know what you have until it's gone, but there will hopefully always be good people like you to shine light when it's dark. Not much gets to me, ask anyone who knows me, but this has, and probably forever will, change the way I think about a lot. My first ticket of the day, computer has data on the screen. Please fix. I'm not entirely sure what they're expecting to see on the screen if not data, and when I remote and everything looked normal, just a Windows workstation sitting at the desktop, and when I asked her to explain or show me what she meant, she just said, "Look. There's data that shouldn't be there." It's a remote session, not a video call, so I can't see what she's pointing at and remind her of that, and she starts moving the mouse and hovering over various random icons on the desktop. Do you not want those icons there? There shouldn't be any data on the screen. Don't have the time or patience to explain that if she wants no data on the screen, she'll need to turn the monitor or computer completely off, but we also can't delete things without explicit, detailed as to what is being deleted info, permission from the user. I think maybe she's one of those users who didn't have desktop icons showing and she just wants them turned off at this point, so I show her that option and get the desktop looking nice and blank and get no. I need my files, I just don't want to see data on the screen. At this point, there is nothing on the screen. It's just a blank black background. No icons, no taskbar, it was on auto hide, no pictures, no background, no programs open, it's just a blank black screen. I tell her she needs to be a little more specific by what she means here, as, at the moment, there is literally nothing on the screen. She's still telling me there's data on the screen that she doesn't want there, and the only way to have data in general not display at all is to turn the computer or monitor completely off. This is where I get to the point that I'm tier 3, one step below the engineers, and she's had this same conversation with 2 levels of support below me, and none of them could figure out what on earth she was asking for either. She goes off on how it's very simple, she just doesn't want any data showing on the screen and can't figure out why we can't understand that, and says she wants to be escalated to get someone who knows what they're doing. Fine. I send it on up the level to engineering and give them a nice, long warning about the weirdness they're about to encounter. They're in the same room and easy to overhear, and I can currently overhear one of our senior engineers having almost the exact same conversation with her. Nobody can figure out what she wants, she can't explain what she wants, nobody at their site can explain it either, beyond we don't want data displaying on the screen, and it's honestly one of the most baffling conversations I've had in ages. Usually I can parse weird user statements like that into what they're actually asking, but she managed to stump me. It's the same site that calls computers modems and corrects us every time we call computers though, so I'm not entirely surprised. I desperately want to know what she meant though, because it's going to drive me nuts. Part of me wants to think she was trolling us, but I don't think she was, as most of her tickets are just as absurd, but at least easy enough to figure out, like the whole computers or modems thing, after a few clarifying questions. I should have followed my instincts. I was assigned a ticket to install a server roof fan at a client site. It was my first time ever doing such a ticket. But no problem, I'm a capable technician that can follow instructions and look at something and determine what goes where. I get on site, talk to the client, get the new server roof fan out the box, take off the old server roof and replace it with the new server fan. I installed the roof fan precisely how it was in the diagram along with instructions. I installed it in where it fit perfectly. Now I'm not too familiar with server room fans and which way the air is supposed to blow. But after installation, the server fan was blowing out of the server, not into the server. I tell the client I'm finished, but he wants to check out my work. He looks at it and says, "Hey, the air should be blowing into the server, not out of the server." I say to the client, "I'm not so sure, sir, I followed the instructions as shown here." He is adamant that I installed it wrong, and another user walks into the room and says that I installed it wrong too. Client tells me fix it right. Fine, so I switched the fan around so now air is blowing into the server. Now he is satisfied, but then says it's way too loud. Does it have to be this loud? Can't you turn it down? No sir, I can't. That's natural for the fan to be this loud. He says that it's unacceptable because someone will be working in the same room as the server, so he puts a box on top of the server to lessen the noise. Sir, you are now blocking airflow. I would not recommend putting a box on top to lessen the noise, it's fine. He exclaims. Call your manager and see if it's okay to put this box on top, sir. I won't call because he is going to say the same exact thing I'm saying now. I'm definitely not calling my busiest manager to ask if a client can put a box on top of a server fan. dash underscore 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 underscore. So after all this I left and spoke with a senior tech about my experience. Senior tech tells me that I did install the server fan the correct way the first time around. And that air should be blowing out of the server because of ABCXYZ, should have followed my instincts. End user connects a desktop to a docking station. A bit of backstory: we have almost exclusively laptops with docking stations in our environment, with a few desktops for specific use cases. Additionally, I work on an escalation team for hardware and OS related issues. This issue is a story of miscommunication, the gross misuse of terminology by the end user, and a bit of lying. Good grief, this one is a little infuriating, looking back on it. Here's how it goes. I get a cold transfer from our Tier 1 support for an issue with the end user's monitors not working on their docking station. The ticket is pretty typical for a Tier 1 escalation, not much relevant information or anything else, for that matter. The end user is frustrated and clearly not very familiar with technology, and is one of the people that refers to a monitor as a desktop, modem, router, docking station, etc. When there is no clear definition of what is what, everything breaks down from there. The end user says they have a desktop computer which they never use, and it isn't connected to anything. They use their laptop and connect it to the docking station, and that always worked cool. After remotely accessing the device, I see it's one of our desktop models, so I inquire a bit more about it. She is adamant it's the laptop, but Sinfo32 doesn't lie. In that event, I assumed she had plugged the display into her desktop computer, and that was that. After some 1.5 hours of further investigation, here's what I found. The end user had both a desktop and a laptop docking station. The monitor was never actually connected to the docking station and never had worked. The end user was connecting a USB-A mail to USB-C mail from the desktop into the Thunderbolt 3 port on the laptop because she thought that was the docking station. She had the docking station plugged into power and then into her laptop. Of course, this whole process of trying to determine what was wrong was exacerbated by them calling the desktop computer and docking station every possible piece of networking equipment you could ever think of. At the end of the call, we eventually were able to test the dock properly, and turns out it was thrown into a closet because it was broken, and they just drug it back out. After 2 hours of troubleshooting, I told her I had requested a replacement from the vendor, to which she asked why, as she never actually used the laptop.